Okay, thanks for the reminder. Okay, so let me make double sure that I'm recording. It is recording. All right, so what happens when we get an innovation in one of the two things that we're producing with our PPF? So we're producing show watching, which is a little bit off because that's maybe a consumption, but it's what you're doing with your time. And then on the other one, we're studying econ. We're producing econ studying. And we have an innovation in studying for econ. Let's say that we discover the econ lowdown and it teaches us all the stuff that we need to know. Or we discover ACDC Economics, which is a great YouTube channel, which can teach you all this econ stuff as well. And it boosts your production in one of those. Now notice that right here on the x-axis, we go from A to way above an A. If you just spend all your time studying economics, you get an A++++. But over here on the y-axis, there's no difference. That's because the innovation is not in watching TV shows. You can do the same amount of that as before if all you do is dedicate your time to TV shows. If that's what you do that, then the innovation in learning economics is irrelevant. But what happens when there's a trade-off? Notice there's kind of a counterintuitive effect right here. What happens is that even if your innovation is only in studying economics, it still could increase your ability to watch TV as well. Why is that? And actually, let me go ahead and just ask you that for real. Let's say that we start here at number 2. We were watching 2 TV shows and we were getting a C, right? Now, in the same amount of time that it took us to watch 2 TV shows, we're at this point, we can get an A. So the question is, could we use this, if we're on the blue line, could we conceivably get a lower grade in econ and watch even more TV? Would that be possible?
Yes.
I see one person shook her head no, one person said yes. A lot of people just frowned at the camera. I wish that we were in person so that I could have you do this on the board. I don't have the interactive part up. But let's look at this. So let's say that we're going to start with our 2 TV shows. So we're going to get that grade. But notice that we can do anything on the blue line. So if we wanted to watch just one TV show and get an A+++, we could do that, couldn't we?
I'm confused what the blue line means.
That's your new production possibility frontier.
Okay.
So do you remember in the Econ Lowdown, they probably did an innovation where it pushed out PPF? That's the same thing, except it's only in one of the things. No, but look at this. If you decide to watch 3.5 TV shows, you could get a D. So notice what's happening there. You could actually use your new innovation in learning econ to be able to just squeak out a D, and it would just allow you to watch a lot more TV, and you'd be happy because you're watching so much TV. You could do that. That is a possibility. And it's a counterintuitive possibility. It says that getting better at economics through this innovation could actually allow you, having a better possibility of getting a good grade in economics through the innovation, you could actually use that to get a worse grade in econ by just piling all your time, or most of your time, into watching TV. Or you could watch, you started watching 2 hours, but you could watch 3 hours of TV and get the same grade that you were before, that C. Again, you could use your innovation and being able to learn econ better to just get the same grade, but be able to watch more TV to be able to produce a different thing instead. So anything along this blue line, any point, is a production possibility that you could do. You could even do this one right here. Those are all possibilities. So why was I doing this example for you? The point is to show you that if you're using your economic reasoning in a wise way, you can have these counterintuitive outcomes that you don't necessarily think about. Here's an example, a futuristic example of the example we just did. I have some friends who are really obsessed. They're futuristic folks. They're really obsessed with the idea that robots or machines are going to take over human jobs in the future. So the machines are going to be so sophisticated that the humans aren't going to have any work to do. So let's say that there was an innovation that that helped take care of the kids. Would that mean that we'd have so much childcare that that parents wouldn't really spend nearly as much time watching their kids as they did before? It's a possibility, right? But with this PPF we see right here, we see that the opposite thing could happen. A parent who now is a lot more productive, has a lot more childcare taking possibilities, could quickly finish up their other chores and then spend even more time with the kids. One thing that, if let's say that if I personally had a lot more time around the house through some innovation, when my kids are, instead of having my kids watch TV during the afternoon, I might actually spend more time with them. So again, it's this tricky counterintuitive way that increased productivity in one area can, you still have choices to make in the other area as well. And the production possibilities curve can really show us how that works, that trade-off between those two things. Whew, any questions about that? All right, well, let's go on to a couple other ones then. Okay, let's do, would somebody be willing to tell us one of your guide to economic reasoning principles in action? Let's just get a few examples. So you can pull that up on your screen right now. Okay. Holland, do you have yours up? Holland, I met your roommates. Did they tell you that?
Yes, I got a text from my friend Bree. She said that you guys are playing soccer.
Yeah, we played soccer with each other. It was pretty exciting.
Yeah.
All right. So Holland, would you tell us one of your real life accounts of the guide to economic reasoning principles?
Yes, I think I did this right. Hold on, let me pick one. Okay.
Tell us ahead of time which principle it'll be.
I said principle number 1, because of scarcity, people choose.
Mm-hmm.
So I said a real life example of this would be when you go to the grocery store and you want to buy fruit for groceries that week, but certain fruits only grow certain times of the year. So you can't necessarily have the exact ones you want. For instance, oranges typically grow more in the summer. So grocery stores may have a lower supply of oranges in February. Therefore, you would have to choose a different fruit to eat.
Okay, yeah, that's pretty good. No, that's a good one. That's a good one. Okay. So maybe you can still get oranges, but they might be either really expensive or of bad quality. That's what I noticed. So you may choose not to get the oranges even though you want them. So the oranges become more scarce than they were before. Okay, yeah. Thank you for going first. Thanks for being the one that took the risk. Caitlin G. Wait, you're Spain, right, Caitlin? Who had the nickname? Yeah, okay, you got it.
Yeah, sorry, my thing wouldn't unmute.
No, okay. Would you tell us one of the examples that you did?
I'm kind of confused. Are we going over the homework, the decision homework that we did?
This is not the decision-making models. This is doing the principles of economic reasoning.
Okay.
Right here, write a real-life account of 3 guide to economic principles in action.
Oh. Okay, I did that actually.
Okay. If you don't have it now, that's okay, but make sure that you do it and turn it in.
Yeah, I gotcha. I think I just
that's what I'm.
Yeah, I didn't see that either. So
didn't do that either.
Did maybe you were looking? You looked under assignments, decision-making model. Okay, I see. I had these two
Yeah,
down
I
here.
had looked under
Yeah.
that part.
Okay. Well, I didn't, that's kind of my bad because it wasn't clearly right there, but I still want you to do it. So would you all do it and turn it in and I won't count it late?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
I
Yeah,
did it, but I
absolutely.
didn't turn it in. I didn't
Me-
see a spot to turn it in. It just said share in class. So
Yeah,
I-
me too. I didn't
Yeah.
turn it in because it said to share it in
I
class.
didn't know we were
Okay.
supposed to share.
I'll make
Remember-
another assignment upload place. And
Okay.
I expected some of you attached it with your decision-making model homework, which is what I intended. So yeah, I'll
I
make
did not
another
do that.
place where you can upload that. Okay. Who's got one that they would share with us?
I could do one.
Okay, I didn't see on my screen who said I, so go ahead.
Oh, that was Kara.
All right, Kara, go for it.
I'm going to do every choice has a cost. So I said I was deciding whether or not to transfer to VCU or stay at the University of Mary Washington. And I decided to transfer to VCU. So the opportunity cost was staying at UMW where I was comfortable.
Yeah, perfect, right? You identified the choice and the opportunity that you gave up. Why did you want to leave Mary Washington? What's one reason?
It was really small and weird.
Small and weird. Okay. And you had nothing to do but go to the Fredericksburg battlefield all the time. That's what I would do if I was there, because I like the history sites. Yeah, I thought it was interesting that everybody in our class almost said that they liked the city atmosphere of VCU. Magdalene says that Fredericksburg sucks. Well, tell us how you really feel, Magdalene.
That's where I grew up, so I agree. Fredericksburg does suck.
Okay.
Totally. It's not great.
Yeah.
Doesn't it have good restaurants though?
Yeah, they're right.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, like, downtown's nice, but like growing up there and going to the same places all the time, it gets very annoying.
I have good friends from Fredericksburg. I'm going to run this past them and see what they say. Okay,
Once you
so
spend too many nights at Spirits, it's just you don't want to go back.
too many nights at which place?
Spirits and Bourbon Room. It's
Spirits and Bourbon Room. Okay, those are places I've gone never, so maybe I'd love it. Maybe I would want to go to Fredericksburg more if I went to those places. Okay. So thank you for telling us your examples, everybody. And I'll put in an assignment upload place right here to do that. Okay, so the decision-making models, again, it's awkward when we're distance, but I'll use my the examples that we had here before. So for okay, so choosing between wants and needs can be a problem. I'm hammering this in. We've talked about this before because there's no real way to analyze that. There's no objective difference. And in real life, that's not how human beings make choices. So those are three ways where it can be problematic. In real life, we should help them to prioritize. All right. Number two, you have to decide whether or not to keep hanging out with a particular friend who's not been a very good friend. We've all had this problem before. Elementary school, bad for these times. So I chose, this one I was thinking could either be just a cost benefit analysis because it's, remember, I said the reason is you have one clear choice, hang out with the friend or not. And it's either yes or no, either or, cost or benefit. If you want to break that, if you broke that out into a decision tree, a double cost benefit analysis, then that's never wrong because you're showing the opportunity cost really, really clearly. And in economics, it's always in bounds to show the opportunity cost really clearly. So if you did either just a cost benefit analysis or a double one, then that would be okay. So would somebody be willing to share with me one of their examples? Let's do Magdalene. Would you go ahead and tell us, please? What did you?
Yeah, sure.
Please.
For number two,
Yeah, what are the costs and benefits you pulled up?
yeah, so for, I guess this is just for me because I'm kind of introverted, but for my benefits, I said you have an established relationship with this friend, you don't have to meet new people. If you invest time and energy into hanging out with this friend, they could become a good friend again, and you get to have fun time away from studying and work. And then for my costs, I said, this time that you spent seeing this friend, you could have spent doing other things. You might lose money driving to see this friend. This person might be mean to you, and then things will be awkward. So my decision was stop hanging out with friend. My opportunity cost is now I have to meet new people. I don't know if that's what we were going
No,
for.
that's
but
perfect.
what
I mean, you came up with a bunch of great thoughts about that one. Yeah, good. So stop hanging out with the friend. And if you're an introvert, maybe you don't want to hang out with anybody anyway. So, hey, no big deal. No, but like you said, it must be really hard to meet new people. It's true. All right. Yeah, that was perfect. Let's move on to the next one. You were thinking about what to do with your life after college. You could either go straight to get a teaching job. You could get a master's degree, another master's degree if you go through the master's in teaching program, or you could travel the world. Make the decision-making model that best shows your choice. I'm going to call on a non-camera person. Let's go to Michaela. Would you share what you did for this one with us?
What number was it?
Number 3.
Number 3. Let me pull it up. Okay, so
And which model would you use here?
I used the PACE grid
That's-
decision
Yep,
model.
that's correct.
Okay, so the 3 choices, of course, they gave us was apply for the teaching job, get a master's degree, and then travel in the world. So for my criteria, it was making money, having fun, and will I love doing so?
Make money, have fun. And what was
And
the third one?
will I love doing it?
Would you love doing it? Okay.
Yes, okay. So then I did the number thing that I seen. So I did like 3 would be the best and then 1 was the worst. So I did numbers. So I did for the applying the teaching job for me, I did 3. So of course I'll be making money being a teacher. And then having fun would be a 2 because it might be stressful. And then 3, of course I love doing so because that's what I want to be.
And you
then
don't have to tell us all the numbers. Which,
okay, so for basically then for applying the job I had 8, for getting a master's degree I had 4, and then for traveling the world I had 7.
Okay. So what was your choice then?
Was applying for the teaching job.
What was your opportunity cost?
Traveling the world.
Right.
Seeing the world, yeah.
Okay, you got it. And getting a master's, that's pretty far down the list. But traveling the world, that was up there, right? That was a little difficult.
Yeah.
Okay, very good. Thank you for sharing that with us. Kalena, would you tell us why would the PACE model be a good thing to use for number 3? You with us, Kalena? Ella, what do you say? Why would PACE model be good for number 3?
Because there are more than 2 options.
Yeah, more than 2 options. Yep. That's what the PACE model is good for. In fact, that's pretty much when you have more than 2 options, that's pretty much the only one that you can use. Okay, then lastly, you are a practicing elementary school teacher. You have to decide what to do with your time after school time until dinner. You could either make new teaching materials for the week, or you could contact the parents of wicked students to create that stronger parent-teacher connection. And so make a PPF that best models your choice. And really all the PPF is the exact same thing as what we went over earlier. It's just this, right? So so at the risk of belaboring the point, instead of shows watched, this one here will be, wait, what do you have the innovation in? It's the,
Would it be contacting parents?
yeah, I can't see where I wrote that.
It was either contacting parents and teaching materials was the
Yeah.
2.
Yeah. So I guess did I not ask you to do the innovation?
No, I don't.
No.
Oh my goodness.
I was a little bit confused doing the graph. I was just hoping that you would walk us through that because it was a
I
little.
was confused too.
Okay.
Me as well.
Okay, so this is, all these are going to be basically in the, they're going to be in the Econ lowdown. That's where you would have seen those. So I'll show you here. Just let me erase this stuff.
So I have a question. I don't mean to interrupt you, Professor.
Go ahead.
But when my econ lowdown popped up, all I saw was like these 3 little quizzes. I didn't see any of this.
You didn't see any videos?
No. I had to go to a separate link, like I searched it and the videos popped up.
It's too bad.
That's why I drew my last graph and scanned it in as the homework.
I'm glad you did that. Lessons should have been there. And I was looking at the, I was looking at your, not yours particularly, but the students' data, and students were watching videos. So let's, if I hope to assign you more econ lowdown in the future. So definitely reach out to me if you can't see the videos or the teaching modules, because you should be able to see those. Okay. So yeah, sorry about that. You really should be able to see that stuff. Okay, so here's your production. Where did we go? Here's your production possibilities curve. This time I'll make it a little bit bendy. Okay, so you could either call 4 parents or make a B+ lesson plan. And when it says you're not working as hard as you could, that's going to be here, or anywhere inside this area, as a matter of fact. It could also be, you could draw this anywhere in there. I'm still erasing, aren't I? So anywhere in here could that point be? This is where you're just not working that hard. You're working less than your production possibility. You're not at the frontier. You know, you could call 2 parents and make a crappy lesson plan, a D lesson plan. That would be right here. All right. When you're producing at your level, as good as you can, that's right here. That's on the curve. And actually, it's anywhere on the curve. As a matter of fact, the curve is made up of an infinite number of places where you possibly could be. Anywhere along that frontier. And a place where you want to get to be, where you're like, man, I'm a new teacher and I'm not very efficient, but someday I wish to be able to call 4 parents. Well, I guess you don't want to write a C lesson plan, do you? Drat. Excuse me. Someday you hope to call 3 parents and make an A lesson plan and be right there. You hope to be a really great teacher someday. The point here for this is to show that what's inefficient, what's efficient, and what's impossible. In fact, let me say that one more time. Inefficient is inside the curve. Efficient is anywhere along the line. You're doing, and notice that it doesn't matter where you are on the line. Any of those are efficient. And anywhere outside the curve is impossible with the resources that you currently have. Inefficient, efficient, impossible. Okay. Any questions about that?
I have a question.
Yeah, sure.
Go for it, Ashley.
Okay. For, you know, on the y-axis, how we did contacting parents, and on the x, it was teaching materials. Can
Yes.
that be interchangeably, or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's arbitrary which one goes on which axis.
Okay, so like in the future, either option could be on either axis?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
I was wondering, I think you said this earlier, but I just want to double check and make sure that I understood correctly. Is it okay if we did a straight line rather than a curved line, or does it have to be one or the other?
Yeah, straight or curved are both okay. The only time where it would matter is if I was asking you a question about the actual trade-off, but measuring the amount of the trade-off between the two. with an increasing opportunity cost, then it would matter. But with these, it doesn't matter.
All right,
Another
Professor
feature.
Day. So for my chart that I did, so like the chart that you're showing us right now, the bottom was like A, B, C, D labeled. I did numbers on both axes.
Sure.
Is that
Yeah, that's fine.
okay? Okay.
Yeah. It's probably better, actually. I just didn't want to, I was using this, I was using the same whiteboard and I didn't want to change what was at the bottom.
No,
So,
you're fine. I just don't want to confuse myself.
yeah. You'll get full credit for these as long as you got the concept right. I mean, remember, economics is concepts, and you show the concept right, you get it right. The details aren't, well, the details are only important if they're actually important. Yeah. Okay, more questions? All right, well, let's go over an example of some teaching economics using children's literature, okay? Oh goodness, am I screen sharing right now? I don't think I am. I go back and forth and back and forth.
No.
Okay. Well, here's one of two resources that you're going to use for today's work. The first of them is kidseconposters.com, which comes to you from the Indiana Council for Economic Education, powered by Purdue University. Kidseconposters.com. Wait a second. So if you scroll down here, notice that you have posters and visual aids, literature connection, and Herschel's World of Economics. Herschel is a puppet. Actually, it's a channel, not a puppet anymore. It used to be a puppet. Now it's a cartoon character where the cartoon character teaches your kids about economics. And so there's lots and lots of great resources for teachers here. You all are going to use the literature connection today. So you're going to click literature connection. And down here, you have a huge list of children's books, alphabetized, and there's a little lesson plan, or it's not even really a lesson plan most of the time. It's usually just a set of comprehension questions. So for instance, we have Uncle Jed's Barbershop, which is one of a book used by many. Oh my goodness, they took it down. Oh my goodness. Oh no. Oh no. They've changed this website since I was here last. They have a chair for my mother. So if you click on one of these, notice that there's a little description and then the comprehension questions. What's the family want? Why? And they give you a couple just comprehension questions that you can use to teach this. And actually, I need to change the assignment a little because they've changed the website. They used to just not give you the answers. I think I'll just have you write answers for teaching children's literature book. Write questions, I mean. So you can use this as a resource to look at how they do it. Notice that they have questions like, what did they want to buy? Why didn't they just buy a new one? Because of scarcity. How are they able to buy? By saving. How did the little girl earn enough money to save? What money would she add to the jar from tips? Not tips if you work at Alchemy Coffee here in Richmond, though, because they don't do tips anymore. How did she increase her savings? What happened after they filled the jar? And what would they probably do with the empty jar? Not actually, those are more personal finance concepts, to tell you the truth. But notice that you have other ones like a busy day at the factory. This one is going to be more about productivity and resources, capital resources, natural, things like that. So you can use this as a template to help you see the kinds of comprehension questions that you can write as your assignment. So for the assignment, I'm going to change it because the website has changed, and it's going to ask you to write your own comprehension questions. Another resource is this right here, handouts to use with books. And you can read a children's literature book, and oh look, you know the decision tree. That's the cost and benefit model for kids, except it has you know, it's nicer to look at. Okay, so you could find in the book where somebody had to make a decision, and you could use the decision tree to help them make the decision. Notice that they have a decision grid. They've got paste there for you. They have the scarcity problems. What scarcity problem is confronted by the character? What were the alternatives for solving the problem? What decision did the character make? What was the opportunity cost? And write a paragraph explaining whether you think this was a good or bad decision. So let's take the example of the book Uncle Jed's Barbershop, okay? Hold on just a moment while I pull this up. By the way, this assignment has you using children's literature. And you can get a lot of literature at the VCU library. There's bunches of there's lots of children's literature there. If you don't want to come to campus, you can use a book that you have at a local library, book you have around the house, or you know what, you can even just use YouTube like I'm about to, and they have lots of teachers reading their books to the kids, especially now in the pandemic, there's tons of them. So it's totally okay to just go to YouTube and get a book from there, from the comfort of your chair. But it's nice to get a hard copy of the book. Okay, so let's do Uncle Jed's Barbershop, and you can, and we can go over some ways that we can answer those questions from the worksheet in this video. Actually, let me do a little bit more of the worksheet before we do the video. Okay, so what decisions, opportunity costs, scarcity, and alternatives does a character in the book have? What's the scarcity situation that you faced recently? What was scarce? What decision did you make? It's the same thing as the previous one, except it's you instead of the book. Okay, so from the story, what natural, human, and capital resources are there? Specialization, interdependence, exchange, role of government. What productive resources are there? Natural, human, and capital. You know what? We need to do yet another thing. We need to go over those concepts, don't we? I'm sorry, everybody. Okay, sharing my screen. There's just, man, it's hard to get through all this stuff in class, isn't it? When it's just a 1-hour class. Okay, so if you go here to week 8 class, good grief, that's an artifact from last time. If you go to week 3 class, and you go to these K3 standards for economics, it'll take you to the Department of Education of Virginia. And, oh, do they not have just one document for her here anymore? Okay, so for kindergarten, what do they have them doing for econ? Well, notice that you have all these skills they're supposed to do. By the way, 1H is always this: use a decision-making model to make informed decisions. You have to do that as an elementary school teacher. And I just taught you how to do it. Isn't that nice? So that's right there for you. You already know how to use decision-making models to help them make informed decisions, but you're going to go on past history and geography. You're going to scroll down to the economic standard. The student will match simple descriptions of work that people do with the names of those jobs. Identify the jobs with the work. Very simple for kindergartners. K-9, the students will recognize that people make choices because they cannot have everything that they want, and that people work to earn money to buy the things that they want. Do you think kindergartners can understand that stuff? You know, I actually teach my kids those standards, even though I don't have to. They say, "Daddy, don't go to work." And whenever they tell me not to go to work, I say, "But kids, if I don't go to work, I can't earn any money. And if we don't have any money, we can't buy food or heat the house or buy gas for our car or buy toys and presents. So I have to earn money, so I have to go to work." I just do it forward and backwards, and they say, "I know," because they've said it so many times. So, but hey, you recognize that right there. People can make choices because they can't have everything that they want. That's Guide to Economic Reasoning. Okay. First grade. Notice all the skills are the same. grade to grade. H is still used as a decision-making model to make informed decisions. Scroll down and we get to econ. The student will explain the difference between goods and services and how people are producers and consumers of goods and services. So a good is something tangible, something that you can touch. A service is a way that somebody serves somebody else or helps somebody else do some work. Those are goods and services. Those are the things that we make, that we consume in order to fulfill our wants. And people are both consumers of goods and services and they're producers of them. So I both consume teaching and I produce teaching. So 1.8, students will explain that people make choices because they can't have everything that they want. That's just a reiteration of scarcity. And students will recognize that people save money for the future. You can sing a song about this too. I've got money, what should I do? What should I do? Spend it all now on something small, something small. That's from kids econ posters as well. There's a lot of ways to teach this. Okay, so let's go on to second grade, which I can't get to because of my menu. There we go. Can I sing the song? I've got money, what should I do? What should I do? Spend it all now on something small, something small. I've got money, what should I do? What should I do? Save it up for later for something big. Oh, you got to shout here, something big. I've got money, what should I do? What should I do? Spend a little now, save some too. Yeah, thank you. You better clap. I put myself out there. All right.
That was really good. Thank you.
Thank you. There go the clapping signs. And unless they changed it with the update, the words for that song should be all there on kidseconposters.com. Are they still there? Curriculum resources. Oh my goodness, they've taken away the best stuff. Oh my goodness, you guys, they've made this website worse just in the last couple months. Hold on, let me see if it's under econ posters. You see econ songs in there anywhere? I need to call the people and tell them to put the songs back. Okay. It's disappointing. All right, so second grade. So we see skill H, use a decision-making model.
I don't think we can see your
You
screen.
don't see anything. You see skill H, make a decision-making model. Economics will describe, students will describe natural resources. Natural resources are things that we use to make goods and services. Productive resources are things that we use to make goods and services, and those are natural, human, and capital. Do you all remember that from elementary school? They actually, stuff that you actually were supposed to learn in elementary school. Okay, so natural resources are things that we use to make goods and services that come from our gifts of nature. Human resources are people's labor, but also their mind, their human capital. And then capital resources are goods that can be used to make other goods and services. One way that teachers often say it is it's capital resources. And if you think I'm being silly right now, you want to write this down because you're going to have to teach this someday. And you're going to want to tell your kids capital resources to help them know that capital is a tool. It can be reused. Okay, students distinguish between barter and money. Barter is when we trade. Money is when we trade using money as a go-between, and that just makes trade easier. Money is to make trade easier. That's why we have it. And finally, scarcity requires people to make choices. Notice we teach this to the students over and over. Okay, one more. H, use a decision-making model. This is well organized, everybody. You should use the decision-making models that we just have done the last few days. And scrolling down, and students will demonstrate an understanding of, okay, so this is a world history grade, and this is why it says different cultures in here. Understanding of different cultures and the natural human capital resources they use to produce goods and services. So the econ there is it takes resources, natural human capital, to make goods and services, and we use goods and services to satisfy our wants and goals. But we can't satisfy all our wants and goals because of scarcity, which has cost. You see how it's all connected. The students will recognize that because people and regions cannot produce everything they want, they specialize in what they do best and trade for the rest. We haven't really learned that concept yet in this class, but we will. You can be more productive. You can actually produce and you can consume, not produce, outside your production possibility frontier if you trade. Trade allows you to consume more than you produce. And lastly, the student will identify examples of making economic choice and the idea of opportunity cost. You've got to give something up when you make a choice, which you'll recognize that from every grade. Okay? So when you do that, you're going to find 2 books. For one of them, you're going, you can find them on YouTube. In Uncle Jed's Barbershop, for example.
Liberty Mutual customized my
come
car
on.
insurance, so I only pay for what I need. What a great day.
Hello and welcome back to another edition of Dia Johnson was my granddaddy's Jedediah Johnson was my granddaddy's brother. Everybody has their favorite relative. Well, Uncle Jedediah was mine. He used to come by our house every Wednesday night with his clippers. He was the only Black barber in the county. Dad said that before Uncle Jed started cutting hair, he and Granddaddy used to have to go 30 miles to get a haircut. After Uncle Jed cut my daddy's hair, he lathered a short brush with soap and spread it over my daddy's face and shaved him. Then he started over my granddaddy. I always asked Uncle Jed to cut my hair, but Mama wouldn't let him. So we would run the clippers on the back of my neck and just pretend to cut my hair. He even spread lotion on my neck. I would smell wonderful all day. When he was done, he would pick me up and sit me in his lap and tell me about the barbershop he was going to open one day and about all the fancy equipment that would be in it. The sinks would be so shiny they sparkled. The floor so clean you could see yourself. He was going to have 4 barber chairs. And outside was going to be a big, tall, red and white barber pole. He told me he was saving up for it.
Okay, so you can see the one thing that's neat about this, aside it just being a great story, notice that you could already fill up a whole page of a page of economics concepts just with this introduction to the story, right? What goods or services was in question? Cutting hair, right? Saving, yes. Capital resources, yes. He's got to have the sinks, he's got to have the chairs, he's got to have the barber poles. So you can find economics concepts in all of these stories. Your job is going to be to fill out 2 pages of this document right here. You might have to copy and paste it yourself or just kind of retype parts of it.
I can't see the document.
Darn it. This document, the part 3 handouts, this is from the back of Teaching Economics Using Children's Literature. So you might have to copy and paste a couple pages of it, but 2 pages of this you're going to have to do for some book, any book. It could be Uncle Jed, but it should be children's literature. And then I want you to pick a second book, and I want you to write your own comprehension questions for the book about economics, okay? So it can be something like, what did Uncle Jed, what natural human and capital resources did Uncle Jed use to make his barbershop? I'll write, you should have at least 5 comprehension questions for that one. I'll revise the instructions there in Canvas.
Quick question.
Yeah, it's about time to go, so you can stick around for questions or you may go. I won't hold you any longer. Yeah, go ahead with the question, please.
For the comprehension question.